to dance? Are you?
Hey, yeah, I can dance. Who's Sheila?
Hey guys, welcome to Apex Legends. Another video here today. But today we got like super exciting news in the Apex community. We just learned that the new legend for Season 6 is officially Rampart, which most people kind of assumed that was going to be. But I will say one thing for sure. We all guessed the character model for Rampart completely wrong. We all thought Rampart was going to be this like big burly looking dude with like orange hair and like scars on his face. But instead, Rampart's a little like punk ghoul. So honestly, that's a pretty big change. And there's so many like new things coming, like the new like crafting thing. That sounds interesting to me. I don't exactly know what that all means yet, but whatever it means, I think it's going to be super exciting to see when that does come out. But Rampart is really the focus of today's video. We're just going to talk a little bit about horror. Like, I think that's such a unique legend, and I'm honestly curious to see how that legend will change the meta if that does happen. Because, like, having a freaking machine gun, that's pretty overpowered, just thinking about. But, like, we've seen this before with, like, characters like Revenant specifically, where Revenant comes into the game and we all think he's gonna be, like, this great player, but then we play as him and you're like, oh, this is kind of lackluster. He has a lit range on his totem. You pretty much die when you spawn back at the totem. Like, there's just a lot of things wrong with Rampart. Not Rampart, Revenant. So, I'm hoping that doesn't happen with Rampart. But I could already see so many, like, amazing combinations with Rampart already. Like, imagine you put a Gibraltar shield down, and then you all of a sudden put a freaking machine gun there. Poke the end of the gun out just a little bit so it sticks out of his shield, and you have some cover while shooting? That's a pretty nasty combo if you ask me. And just like little things like that, like they just sound good, and the fact that anybody can pick them up, like I don't know if the torrent moves or if it's a stationary one, but if it's stationary, then obviously this wouldn't work. But if you can move with it, I'm sure you would have some slowness to yourself. But imagine like a character like Octane picking up and just stimming himself and being able to stray faster with this freaking machine gun. Like, that just sounds ridiculous to me. But honestly, I love the character design. Like, I'm glad it's not exactly who we thought it was going to be. I like how Apex kind of keeps tricking us a little bit. Kind of started with Season 4, we all thought we were going to get Forge, and then all of a sudden, we see Revenant crawl down from his hole and just freaking slaughter Forge. So, it's nice that we got it right this time, but it's nice that they even put a little bit of a twist to it. But honestly, I'm just surprised by that whole thing. I just wasn't expecting it. I think it's going to be a very interesting meta. There are definitely some characters I hope get a little bit of a buff next season, just because I definitely think they deserve a little bit more love. But yeah, so that we finished talking about Rampart. Next thing we gotta talk about is the map change. I still think we're gonna get that new map. I'm very curious what that new map will exactly be looking like. It sounds like it's gonna be the home of where my buddy Octane and his little lady friend Lifeline are from, Olympus. But I think it's gonna be a cool map. Like, I hope it's just different too. For me, in my opinion, World's Edge and King's Canyon are so different just map-wise. Like, World's Edge, there's so much more cover in my opinion, because you have all the cities, you have all those doors. And so, like, in my opinion, on World's Edge, shotguns are just so good because of how much cover you can actually have with them. But then on maps like King's Canyon, I feel like it's just a much more open map, and I feel like snipers dominate. You have a triple take just because it's the sniper you need. If you can't aim, use that. If you can aim a bit, use the sentinel, longbow. Just a lot more openness, not as much cover, which I think tends to be tricky in that. But I'm just hoping Olympus is a lot different. I'm curious what features they'll add. I'm curious if they'll be like on World's Edge, for example, we have Geyser. Like, I'm curious if there'll be something like that. I'm overall excited to see what the map's going to be like, or if it's gonna kind of have like a theme of like just war and stuff. Since I know when Lifeline's parents were in that war, so I'm curious if maybe they'll have some references to that. It's overall pretty exciting, especially since we've had such a drought of like anything happening in this game. It's just like the only thing we have coming up is the new limited time mode with the wings always moving. And that sounds fun, but that's not gonna save the season from lack of content. But I mean, the season's almost over. Hopefully they don't do to us what they did last season and extend the season just for their own reasons. But if they do, I mean, sure, it sucks, but I mean, it probably means they're going to add even more better content. But yeah, so the map will probably be changing, which is honestly crazy. I personally like World's Edge a lot. A lot of people don't agree with that statement now, and trust me, I know who you are. You've told me. But I just like World's Edge. I just like the way it feels. It just feels like a city. Kings Canyon just kind of feels like some random bum desert, honestly, to me. Especially since we're like all these like cool champions. Like, it just doesn't feel the mix in well. But yeah, that's my thoughts about the map, Rampart. And then we're getting a new gun. There's so many theories about what that could be. I personally just think it's going to be the Volt, or it's going to be like a grenade launcher or something. I've seen so many rumors about that, so many things on Twitter about that. I hope it's the Volt. I think the Volt sounds like a cool gun. But yeah, I'm definitely hoping for that. And then also with the new Battle Pass that's coming out and all that, I'm really hoping they do another story thing like they did this season. That was a very interesting. Sure, it was a very easy story campaign mode, whatever you want to call it. But it was definitely interesting to do, and we hadn't seen in Apex before. So it's just the fact it existed was just neat in my opinion. Do I think it needs to be upgraded from what it was last season? Oh, absolutely. It was pretty pathetic in like content-wise, but it was interesting, which I appreciated. So I think next season's gonna be a pretty interesting season for Apex. I think there's gonna be a lot of meta changes, and I hope there's a lot of legend buffs and nerfs. Obviously, nerfs aren't as fun, but buffs always make it interesting. Oh, we're gonna die in this gassy area. But yeah, it's overall just pretty good, and I'm glad it's happening. Glad Season 6 is on its way. Overall, like, the only things I'd like to see some changes on is, like, I think Pathfinder needs to be rebuffed. Like, Pathfinder is still a good character, but just why did they have to hoard his grapple so much? His grapple got slaughtered, man. Like, why did they have to do that to my boy? I was a Pathfinder main before Season 5, and then they just absolutely nerfed the heck out of him. But I hope Pathfinder gets a little bit buffed, like, get his cooldown taken down just a little bit. I understand it. It was pretty frequent you could use it, and it was pretty annoying. But I definitely think it should be a little bit less. I hope Octane still gets... Like, Octane is still a fun champion, but I wish his tactical... not tactical. I wish his passive was just a part of his tactical. I feel like he needs a new passive. Like, being able to heal after you stem just seems like that should be something that comes with your tactical. Lifeline, I still think she's fine. I don't really have a problem with her. But yeah, overall, I think the game's honestly pretty balanced. I think Crypto definitely needs a little bit more love, just because I don't feel like he's nearly as useful in this meta. But yeah, honestly, other than that, I feel pretty good about all the legends right now in the game. They all feel good and comfortable. But I want to know what some of y'all thoughts are on this. Like, there's a lot of stuff happening. Nothing game-changing, but just a lot of different things happening here in this season. So I'll be interested to see how this actually turns out in the end. But But yeah, that's all I think. I don't really feel like any gun's way too overpowered. I think the Havoc was nerfed too hard. On PC, it's still a ridiculously good gun though, just because recoil is so much easier to predict in that game and just control than it is on like a console. But other than that, I honestly feel like the gun meta is even good. I want them to buff like hammer points and stuff in this game just a little bit. Not hammer points, like Mozambiques and stuff. Just because I feel like those are definitely underpowered. Like I feel like they could actually be pretty good, but I understand that you want to have guns you can improve from. So it makes sense to me. I just kind of wish it wasn't. Honestly, everything feels good and balanced. I don't really feel like anything's bad in this meta right now. But yeah, I'm curious to hear what y'all thoughts on all that. So for the rest of this, I'm just going to be doing the gameplay. Maybe I'll do a couple extra rounds, but yeah, enjoy that. And I'll, yeah, see you guys in the next video, I guess. Peace. Okay, come on, please live. Come on. I'm gonna die either way, let's be honest here. Come on, one little octane. Save me, friend. That's okay. Sometimes death happens to all of us. I just didn't want it to. Oh, I missed so many shots in that game. Oh, that was so painful. Sometimes you just have those days where you literally just cannot aim for the life of you, and then other days you just hit every shot. I don't quite understand it, but it happens. I got an elimination. I'm fine with that. As long as I don't keep going down in plat. I don't think I'll be able to make diamond this season. I'm hoping, but I don't think I have enough time, just realistically in my mind. But
waiting for the time to pass me by. Ranging in my sentimental mind. Still holding my feelings in. I'm still wondering if you care. I was taken so for granted.